Good morning to 100 present over here. Myself, L. Anbarasu, Assistant Professor, belongs to Triple E Department. In this video, we have to discuss about the DC machines and transformer subject. Unit number 1, DC generator. This is the subject code 19W 302 DC machines and transformer. So mostly theoretical topic it covers the 80%. So problem it covers the 20%. So course duration is 45 hours. So totally it requires 60 periods. Here the unit number 1 DC generator syllabus. Constructional features of your DC machine. Principle of operation of DC generator. EMF equation. Types of generator. Characteristics of DC generator. Commutation. Armature reaction and its effects. Parallel operation of DC shunt generator. So finally, we discussed about the applications of DC generator. First, what is meant by DC generator? So generator it is an electrical machine which conveys mechanical power into an electrical power. So that's why it is called as a generator. So why it is called as DC generator means it conveys the mechanical power into DC electrical power. So it is called as a DC generator. Here the block diagram representation. This is the generator. Here the input energy is a mechanical energy is given to the input, and there is an energy conversion process taken inside of the machine. Then it converts the mechanical energy into it is equivalent to the electrical energy. This is the output of the DC generator. And this is a simple block diagram representation of DC generator. So next one DC motor. So motor it is an electrical machine which converts electrical power into an mechanical power. Similarly, it converts the DC electrical power into mechanical power. So this is a simple block diagram representation of DC motor. Here the input it is an electrical energy. It is given to the input. The energy conversion process is taken inside of the machine. It converts electrical energy into mechanical energy. So mechanical energy is an output power. So input power is an electrical energy. So next one, at what principle the DC generator works? This is the questions. Here the DC generator it converts the mechanical energy into an electrical energy. That is the basic conversion process. Whenever a conductor move in a magnetic field in such a way, conductors cuts across the magnetic flux lines of an EMF will be induced in that conductor. So it is defined by the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So this is the principle behind the DC generator. So whenever a conductor or coil which is rotated within a magnetic field, it cuts the magnetic lines of flux means it produces a induced EMF. That is the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. This is a statement of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. There are two statements of that. First law and second law. Here the first law, whenever a conductor cuts magnetic flux, an EMF is induced in that conductor. That is a simple statement. Whenever a conductor cuts magnetic flux, an EMF is induced in that conductor. Or whenever a magnetic flux linked with a circuit changes, an EMF is always induced in it. So second law, the magnitude of the induced EMF is equal to the rate of change of flux linkages. So first law which indicates the only the how to produce the induce the EMF. Second law, we can determine the induced EMF magnitude. The magnitude of the induced EMF is equal to the rate of change of flux linkages. So this is the two statement of the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. So simple experimental setup behind the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Here the coil which is connected across the galvanometer, permanent magnet, it is moved towards the coil away from that coil. Then what will see about this experiment? Here the towards the coil means the current direction is one direction. Away from that coil means the current direction is opposite to previous one. So that is the AC induced EMF is induced in the coil. Here the one of the part, here the electric circuit it is the coil, magnetic circuit it is the north and south pole. Here the magnetic poles are moving part, coil is stationary part. So any one of the circuit may be in movable. So this is the simple experimental setup behind the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Then Lenz law, the induced currents in a conductor are in such a direction as to oppose the change in magnetic field that produce them, or the direction of induced EMF in a coil or conductor is such that it opposes the cause of producing it. That is the Lenz law, which it tells the direction of induced EMF in a coil is such that it opposes the cause producing it. That is the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. E, it is equal to minus n d phi by dt. Here the minus n which indicates the Lenz law. So first unit it is a DC generator. Here the DC generator, the Fleming's right hand rule is applicable. It is used to determine the direction of induced EMF or direction of current through the conductor. Here the three fingers are there: thumb finger, middle finger, and forefinger. Here thumb finger indicates the motion of the conductor. The first finger which indicates the lines of flux, that is a magnetic field direction. Then middle finger which always indicates the current direction. This is a simple statement behind the Fleming's right hand rule. Here the right hand rule which explains, which is used to determine the direction of induced EMF in DC generator. So right hand rule only applicable for the DC generator. Fleming's left hand rule it is applicable for the DC motor. So later we'll discuss about the left hand rule. Here all the fingers are right angle to each other. So right angle to each other means all the fingers 90 degree to each other. This is the simple Fleming's right hand rule explanation. Here the north and south pole. Here the right side of the diagram, north pole. Left side of the diagram, it is the south pole. The conductor is placed inside of the magnetic flux lines. Here the upward direction of motion is applied. Here the how to apply the Fleming's right hand rule. The upward direction of motion means conductor moving part is upward direction. The motion of the conductor is upward direction. Field direction is right to left. Then whatever the current direction means it is from top to end conductor. That is a simple explanation behind the Fleming's right hand rule. So next one, there are basic requirements behind the generation of induced EMF in a DC generator. What are the basic requirements? First one is uniform magnetic field. It is the one of the basic requirement. Next is system of conductors. Third one, the relative motion between the magnetic field and the conductors. So third one, it is the relative motion between the magnetic field and the conductors. These three things are very important to satisfy the generation of induced EMF in DC generator. Here the first one, magnetic field, either permanent magnet or electromagnet can be employed. For small type of DC generator, we can employ for the permanent magnet. For large type of DC generator, we can utilize for the electromagnetic. So practically, it is electromagnet can be applied for the practical purpose. Here the next one, system of conductors. This is a conductor. So mostly copper or aluminum bars are placed inside of the slot, which cuts the around the periphery of the cylindrical rotor. So small type of DC generator, aluminum conductors can be employed. For large type of DC generator, copper conductor or bar conductors are employed. So third one, there is a relative motion between these about two things. Either magnetic field can be rotate or conductor can be rotate. So by means of prime mover, we can rotate the any one of the system, either magnetic field or conductor. Here the by prime mover purpose, turbine IC engine, diesel generator, diesel engine, it can be employed for the purpose of prime mover. So this is a simple loop generator explanation. Here there are two slip rings are there. So one ring is connected into one conductor, another ring is connected in another rings. There is some brushes is connected across the external resistance circuits. So for simple explanation, we can take the only one conductor, rectangular shaped conductor. Here the black shaped conductor for half part, another part is white color conductor indication. Here the black color conductor is connected in black color slip rings, white color conductor is connected in white color slip rings. For diametrical representation, we can note that these things very important. So initially, the conductor, black conductor is upper direction, white conductor is in downward direction. This is the initial position we can employ for the 0 degree indications. The armature rotates through the magnetic field at the initial position of the 0 degree. So this is the 0 degree moving parallel to the conductor. Here the flux lines always moving from north pole to south pole. The conductor is parallel from that conductor means there is no EMF is induced in that conductor because the conductor which cannot cut the magnetic lines of flux. So only the EMF is induced which conductor cuts the lines of flux. Okay. Here the initial position there is no flux lines cutting. So that's why here there is no induced EMF is here. So that's why the no voltage is induced. So after 90 degree rotation, the black color conductor is moved from 0 degree to 90 degree towards the south pole. So towards the south pole means it cuts the magnetic lines of flux from minimum to maximum value of flux lines, and also it is nearby the south pole. That is a black color conductor. Similarly, the white color conductor it is moved from towards the north pole. We can note on the only black color conductor. Here there is an induced EMF is increasing one from 0 degree to maximum flux. Here the exactly 90 degree, the black color conductor it is nearby the south pole at exactly 90 degree. It is the maximum EMF is induced in that conductor. So 0 degree to 90 degree movement of the one quarter cycle of the rotation, it will induce the maximum induced EMF. Then another 90 degree rotation from 90 degree to 180 degree rotation. Here the 90 degree rotation to 180 degree rotation. The black color conductor it is away from the south pole. Here the away from the south pole. So it away from the south pole means it is a decreasing one. The induced EMF value is always the magnitude of induced EMF value is decreasing one. So that's why we can reduce the magnetic induced EMF value. Here the one half rotation is completed here. We can get the only past half cycle waveform. Past half cycle waveform for the 180 degree rotation. Then another 180-degree rotation, that is a black clock conductor, it is a downward direction, white clock conductor is in the upward direction. Either we can rotate the black clock conductor in another 180-degree rotation. Then what happened? This black clock conductor, it is moved towards the north pole. So previously it is moved towards the south pole, means it is a positive obstacle. So same black clock conductor, it is moved towards the north pole. It is the opposite pole. Here the induced EMF is increasing one but reverse direction. That is, that point we can note it here. The black clock conductor, it is moved towards the north pole, means it is opposite to previous one, means it is a increasing induced EMF value but in reverse direction. That is another 90-degree rotation. It is a increasing one but reverse direction. So exactly the black clock conductor nearby the north pole. So another 90-degree rotation, it is away from the north pole, means it is a decreasing one but reverse direction. It is a decreasing one but reverse direction. Here it is the initial position of the one complete cycle. Okay. So one complete cycle, we can get the two waveform. One positive half cycle waveform, another one is negative half cycle waveform. One complete rotation, we can get the one positive half cycle waveform and one negative half cycle waveform. So this is the AC induced EMF, alternating current induced EMF. So we can we can produce a induced EMF, alternating induced EMF in the generator. But we can know about the DC generator. How to convert the alternating induced EMF in unidirectional induced EMF. Here the only small changes in the slip rings. We can change the alternating induced EMF in unidirectional induced EMF. In this diagram, we can employ only one ring. This ring is also called as a split rings. Why it is called as split rings? We can cut the one ring with the help of mica. This is called as an insulation purpose. One part of the ring is A, another part of another half of the ring is B part. It is called as a split ring. Here the two brushes are connected across the external circle. So with the help of split ring, how to produce the alternating induced EMF into unidirectional induced EMF? We can see that how to produce the alternating induced EMF in unidirectional DC. Here the one half revolution. Here the A to B, C to D current direction value is here. The one half revolution, that is a 0 degree to 180-degree conduction. Here the conductor A to B current direction is upper direction to lower direction. Conductor C to D current direction is lower direction to upper direction. Because so it is nearby north pole, means it is nearby south pole, means it is opposite direction of induced EMF is produced. Here the A to B connector is connected across A ring. C to D connector is connected across the B ring. Here the current direction is, which indicates A to B, A brush 1, ML, then brush 2, B, C to D. It is the complete rotation of the complete current direction path. Here the positive half cycle waveform is here. So now another half revolution. Here the C to D conductor is moved nearby the north pole. A to B conductor is nearby the south pole. But current direction is not interchangeable. Only the conductor is interchanged from north pole to south pole to north pole. Here D to C current direction is flow through the B conductor, B slip rings, then brushes ML and brush to A conductor, then complete rotation. So another rotation, the current through the external circuit is same direction. So that is the we have to need it. That is a DC generator. Can convert the induced EMF in the armature winding, alternating induced EMF in the armature winding is converted into unidirectional induced EMF with the help of split rings. Okay. So that is a systematic manner we can convert the alternating induced EMF in into unidirectional DC EMF, which is flow through the external circuits. Here the pulsating DC voltage is produced here. So output voltage always has the same polarity. Current is also always pulsating current. And we can rotation as used. We can multiple outputs are superimposed. We can get the almost free fluctuations. We can apply for the many number of conductors means we can resultant current is pure DC waveform. So next part constructional details of DC machines. So these are the main parts of the DC machines: yoke, rotor, stator, field electromagnets, pole core, pole shoe, brushes, shaft, armature, coil, commutator, bearings. These are the main parts of the DC machine. So DC machine means it is common to DC generator and DC motor. This is a cross-sectional view of DC generator. Here the yoke or it is the yoke part. It is used to cover the inside part of the machine and also it is used to magnetic flux pass. Distribute the magnetic flux pass. This is a pole core, pole shoe, field winding. Here the minimum number of poles north and south poles are here. Here the rotating part armature is here. Armatures are there. Here the outer periphery of the armature. Number of slots of processor is here. With the help of slots, we can insert the armature winding, either lap winding or wave winding. So this is the commutator part. It is used to convert the alternating DC EMF in the armature winding into unidirectional DC EMF. It is given to the external circuits with the help of commutator and brushes. Here the individually we can explain about the yoke function. It acts as a frame of the machine. It is used to mechanical support of the machine. Low reluctance for the magnetic flux paths. High permeability machine. For small machine, cast iron, low cost. For large machine, cast steel, rolled steel. So next one, field magnet. To consist of two parts, pole core and pole shoe. So pole core it carry the field coils, rectangular cross-sectional areas. Laminated construction is used to reduce the eddy current losses. It is fitted to the yoke through a bolt. So pole shoe it act supports to the field poles and spread out the flux. So pole core and pole shoe are laminated of annealed steel. The maximum thickness of the pole core is 1 mm to 0.25 mm. Here is the one of the pole core. This is the pole shoe. This is the total area is pole core. This is laminated construction. Laminated construction. It is used to reduce the eddy current losses. Silicon content is included in the iron core means it is used to reduce the hysteresis losses. This pole core is with the help of bolt we can fit the inside of the yoke. Next field magnet. Field magnet it made up of field coils or magnetizing coils. It provides the excitation for the purpose. So number of poles depends upon the speed of the armature and output for which the machine is designed. So there are different types of field winding excitations are there, separately excited, self-excited. Here the armature. Here the armature is the rotating part of the machine. Here the outside of the periphery, the slots or process is here. It is used to insert the armature winding, either lap winding or wave winding. Air holes are used to distribute the heat inside of the producer heat inside of the machines. This is the only one stampings of the armature winding. Slot teeth, slot teeth. This is a keyway. It is a keyway is used to fit the shaft, MS shaft. So conductor system that is a armature system. Armature core and armature winding. There are two parts, armature core and armature winding. So armature core to support the armature winding, to rotate the conductor in a magnetic field. It is in the cylindrical or drum shaped. It is built up of made up of high permeability silicon steel stampings. Each stampings is separated from each other by means of thin varnish as insulation purpose. So laminated construction is used to reduce the eddy current losses. Small air gap between the pole pieces and armature. It has no wrapping between them. High grade silicon steel is used to reduce the hysteresis losses and also eddy current losses. Ventilating ducts are provided to dissipate heat generated by the above losses. So next one is armature winding. So armature winding, it is the main flux winding. It cuts the armature and EMF is induced in that conductor. This is made up of copper or aluminum. Windings are insulated to each other with the help of insulating papers. So this is the commutator construction. Hard and copper bars are circumvented, insulated from each other by mica segment. So it is in between the armature and the external circuit. The split rings it acts like a rectifier, AC to DC. Here the commutator lux, it is used to connect the armature winding. Each armature winding coils. This is the commutator, insulated commutator segments, end clamp. This is the end rings. This is a soft commutator hub segments, mica V rings. And next one is a brushes and a brush gear. Carbon graphite, copper is used to collect the current from commutations. In case of generator, in case of motor means it is used to use the current through the carbon to the armature winding. Next one is shaft and bearing. Shaft, it is mechanical link between prime mover and the armature. Bearings for the free rotations. This is a pictorial representation of four-pole stator part only. Here the four-pole machines, four field winding coils are here. Pole core, pole shoe are there. This is the armature winding, commutator, bearings, both the ball bearings and both the side up and ball bearings are there. Here the brushing arrangements are here. Cut sectional view of DC machines. This is the inner cooling fan. So armature winding, it is classified in two types: lap winding and wave winding. So why it is classified in two types means the lap windings are usually in machine designed for the low voltage and high current. So that's why we can apply for the lap winding. We can prepare for the lap winding. Here the lap winding A equal to P equal to number of poles. This is the setup behind the lap winding. So wave winding, these there are used for the machine designed for the high voltage and low current. High voltage and low current purpose we can prepare for the wave winding. Here the wave winding, the number of parallel paths equal to 2 only. This is the 4-pole machine, but number of parallel paths is A equal to 2 only. This is the setup behind the lap winding and wave winding. Next we discussed about the EMF equation of DC generator. Before going for the derivation of EMF equation, we can define some constant parameters. So one is let's consider the flux per pole in Weber is equal to total number of armature conductor. This is the magnetic circuit. It is the armature circuits, electric circuits. So number of conductors it can be explained about the number of slot multiplied by conductors per slot. P equal to number of generated poles, number of parallel paths A, N equal to armature rotation, revolution per minute, E that is the induced EMF in any parallel path. So average induced EMF per conductor equal to d phi by dt. We can consider only one rotation, one conductor in simple loop generator. We can apply for the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Average induced EMF per conductor equal to d phi by dt. So d phi it is a change in flux, dt it is a change in time. So flux cut per conductor in one revolution, that is a d phi. It is equal to pi into p Weber. So flux cut per conductor in one revolution. This d phi equal to pi into p Weber. So number of revolution per second equal to n by 60. So time taken per one revolution equal to dt equal to 60 by n seconds. So according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, EMF generated per conductor equal to d phi by dt equal to pi p n by 60 voltage. So according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, we can substitute this about two things. So EMF generated per conductor, average induced EMF per conductor equal to d phi by dt equal to pi Pn by 60 voltage. But we have to utilize for the n number of conductors in one parallel path. So we can multiply it by Z by A conductors. Z by A conductors. So EMF generated per path equal to pi Pn Z by 60 into A voltage. It is a general EMF equation of DC generator. But we can apply for the either lap winding or wave winding. We can substitute lap winding for A equal to P, wave winding for A equal to 2. That is the actual EMF equation of DC generator. For lap winding, high current, low voltage. Wave winding, high voltage and low current. The next one is a DC generator types. We can broadly classify it into two types based on their excitation, self-excitation and separately excitation. So self-excitation again can be classified into three types: shunt, series, compound. Based on their connections in between field winding and armature winding, it can be classified into three types: shunt, series, and compound. Again, compound, long shunt and short shunt. So both the type we can broadly classify in cumulative and differential compound generator. Here the separate exit DC generator. Here the field winding is connected across the separate DC source. Armature winding is connected across the load circuit. That's why it is called as a separately excited DC generator. Here the IA equal to IL, EG equal to V plus IA RA plus brush conductor. So next one is self-excited DC generator. One of the type of generator is shunt winding, shunt wound DC generator. Here the shunt field winding, armature winding is connected in parallel. So both the arrangement is connected in parallel with the load circuits. You can apply the Kirchhoff's current law, IA equal to IL plus IS. We can determine the IA equal to IL plus IS with the help of KCL equations. So generated EMF in the armature winding E is equal to V plus IA RA plus brush conductor. Okay, VL equal to VSS equal to ISS into RSS. So next one, series wound DC generator. Here the windings, series field winding, it is connected in series with the armature winding. Load is connected in series with the armature winding and series field winding. Here the IL line current, it is equal to armature current, it is equal to series field current. Here the generated EMF equal to V plus IARA plus ISC RSC. Here the compound wound DC generator. There are two types of common generator: long shunt common generator, short shunt common generator. Here the left side it is a long shunt common generator. Why it is called as a long shunt common generator means shunt field winding is connected in parallel with both series connected series field winding and the armature winding. So that's why it is called as a long shunt common generator. But in case of short shunt common generator, the shunt field winding only parallel with the armature winding. Okay. That's why short shunt compound generator. The equation IA equal to ISC equal to IL plus ISS. ISS equal to V by RSS. E is equal to V plus IARA plus ISC RSC. So next one DC generator characteristics. There are three types of characteristics are there: open circuit, internal, external characteristics. So open circuit characteristics it is the curve drawn between no load induced EMF and field current. So x-axis we can note on the it is taken as a field current, y-axis it is taken as a no load induced EMF. We can draw the open circuit characteristics. So internal characteristics, internal induced EMF and armature current. We can draw the parameters internal induced EMF and armature current. That's why it is called as an internal characteristics curve. External characteristics curve with help of voltmeter ammeter in load circuit, we can measure the load current and low loads. You can draw the external characteristics curve. Next, conditions for voltage buildup of shunt generator. In case of self-excited, one of the type of shunt generator, what are the conditions to be fulfilled for buildup of voltage? So there are 3 points are there. First one is there is an residual magnetism present in the field winding. Okay, that is the residual magnetism present in the generator poles. It is very important. At least 10% of residual magnetism is present in the generator poles. So second one, the connections of field winding is properly managed. Okay, it will strengthen the field winding. The connections of field winding is should be properly connected to the armature winding because it is strengthen the field winding residual magnetism. It cannot decrease the residual magnetism. So third point, the field winding resistance, critical field winding resistance. The resistance of the field circuit is always less than the critical field resistance. Yeah, that is the another reason to build up the voltage. Suppose it is larger than the critical field resistance, means it cannot produce the voltage. Here the separately excited DC generator open circuit characteristics curve. So here the voltmeter is connected across the armature winding. Field ammeter is connected in series with the field winding. We can draw the open circuit characteristics curve with the help of field winding current and no load induced EMF. So it is the OA. It represents the residual induced EMF. We can increase the field current through the field winding. The voltage is increasing one up to B to C. Then after C, it is saturated one. This is called as an open circuit characteristics curve. So internal and external characteristics curve. After we can generate the rated voltage, it is a dotted line. No load increase EMF, it is a dotted line. We can connect the load across the armature winding. Some voltage is dropped up due to the armature reaction drop. It is an internal drop, armature reaction drop. So due to armature reaction drop, the some voltage, some induced EMF is reducing. Then third curve which indicates the IL RA drop, armature drop, IA RA drop. So this is the second curve. It is known as internal characteristics curve. Third curve it is called as an external characteristics curve. Here the shunt generator OCC characteristics curve and load characteristics curve is here. This is a series generator. open circuit characteristics curve, internal characteristics curve, external characteristics curve. So compared to central generator, open circuit characteristics curve, load characteristics curve was similar. The very important field winding and the armature winding. Then only we can produce the voltage. That is very very important. Open circuit characteristics curve and internal characteristics curve and external characteristics curve. And this is a common generator characteristics curve. Based on the connections, we can divide it into three types: over commanded, flat commanded, under commanded. Both the flux for the field winding fluxes are decreasing on means under commanded. It is equal to means it is flat commanded. It is aids total flux strength. Total flux strength means it is the increasing one. Over commanded DC generator. Compound generator. Here the armature reaction, the interaction between the armature flux and the main flux. It is called as an armature reaction. The effect of armature reaction is it demagnetizes or weakens the main field flux. So one of the effect is it weaken or demagnetizes the main flux. Second one, it cross magnetizes the or distorts the main flux. Here the diagram, only main poles are there. There is no armature reaction effect because armature flux is absent. Only main flux is there. So second diagram, here the only armature flux is there. Main flux is absent. Here there is no armature reaction effect. Here the third one, here the both the flux are there means there is an interaction between main flux on its armature flux on its main flux. Here there is a cross magnetization effect, distortion effect. It decreases the, it weakens the main flux, it distorts the main flux. Okay. That is the two effects begin the armature reactions. So finally, we can discuss about the applications of DC generator. So first one is separately excited DC generator. This is used for the speed control of DC motor over a large range. So second one, there are used in areas where wide range of terminal voltage is required. This is the main applications of separately excited DC generator. So then self-excited DC generator, shunt generator. One of the type of generator is shunt generator. These are used as excitators for exciting the field winding of synchronous machines and separately excited DC generator. So second, there are used for the battery charging purpose because its terminal voltage is almost constant. So that is used for the battery charging purpose. So third one, it is commonly used for the ordinary lighting purpose and the power supply purpose. So this is the application began the shunt generator. Then series generator, these are used for the series arc lighting, series incandescent lighting, boosting purpose for increase the voltage across the feeder circuits, special purpose applications for the regenerative braking of DC locomotives, railway service. Then constant current for the welding purpose. These are the series generator applications. So next one is common generator. Here the common generator where the constant terminal voltage you have to maintain for the different loading conditions. Whenever the constant loading conditions are maintained means we can employ it for the common generator. Here the cumulative common generator, these are used for the domestic lighting purpose and transmit the energy over the long distance and heavy power service such as electric railways also. So differential common generator rarely this type of energy is employed. This type of common generator is employed only special applications purpose, that is arc welding purpose only the common generator. Differential common generator can be. These are the overall application about the DC generator. Okay, in this video we discussed about the DC machines and transformer subject. Unit number one, DC generator. We discussed about the principle of operation of DC generator, EMF equation of DC generator, types of DC generator, armature reaction and its effects, characteristics of DC generator, then finally applications of DC generator. Okay, thank you. So next we discussed about the second unit, DC motor, in next video. Thank you very much.